You guys may have known this as I've mentioned it before a bunch of times in regards to a friend that I have that is catching up to One Piece, and he has several questions as he knows I have a channel dedicated to One Piece, but most I can't even answer. He's asked questions like, where do devil fruits come from? What is Shanks' deal? And even why is Luffy so dumb? What exactly am I supposed to say? It normally ends up with me deflecting and encouraging him to read more so we can talk more openly, and he regularly texts me after I post a video and says, do I have enough hockey to watch this one? And I would always answer,
I have one word in answer to what you just asked me. No!
Till he asked me about episode 0. He's currently in the middle of Punk Hazard, but randomly one day he decides to ask because he saw people online talking about episode 0. What is that exactly? Where do I find it? Do I have enough hockey to read it? I think I still haven't responded, as immediately I went to reread episode 0, as this flashback to the great era of Roger, Whitebeard, Garp, and Shiki was some of the most hype shit you will ever see in One Piece. Some of you may legitimately be asking, okay, so wait, what is episode 0? Well, let's talk about that today. I will review and analyze One Piece Chapter 0 and gush over it mostly because there's so many fantastic moments to choose from and ways to tie it into the story. It's just a great time every single time. But before that, don't let another episode pass by before you subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I have a zero tolerance policy for individuals who skip this step. Anyway, to one of the greatest things I've ever experienced. One Piece Chapter or Episode 0. So what is it? What is this legend of One Piece Chapter 0? Well, this chapter or episode was somewhat promotion for the new One Piece film, Strong World, which copies of it was given out to audiences who went to see it. This told canon events of what transpired 20 to 25 years before Luffy started his adventure, so about 3 years before the golden age of piracy. You would have had to be reading One Piece at that time to understand the fever pitch of getting something like this at that time. This was released simultaneously with One Piece Chapter 565, Oar's Path, and this is the chapter with Akainu destroying Whitebeard's Moby Dick and the legendary panel of Luffy standing before all 3 admirals. So imagine in the midst of this, we get an entire chapter dedicated to the era of the great men we see doing battle in front of us. I was caught up at this time, and let me tell you, this was unbelievable. Chapter 0 starts off with Garp being interested in Shiki. Now, there had been promotion for Shiki due to Strong World, but we didn't know much. But a legend in the days of Garp, Whitebeard, and Sengoku, I was absolutely interested. This revealed much about Garp's character too, because we had always asked the question, why wasn't Garp an admiral? Of course, now we know more in regards to his disdain for the Celestial Dragons and how he's trying to change the system, but it revealed that Garp had his rank to stay a free man essentially and move around a bit more, as opposed to what the admirals could do. It was amazing to see Kuzan, but with a bit more fire than what we know him to be, and has been since revealed that something changed his sense of justice, and this showed clearly. It was a bit sad to see Saul due to knowing how that relationship ended. They were truly friends. The Akainu reveal in the background didn't hurt either. Garp and Sengoku were on the move as they heard Shiki and Roger had made contact. It made me think of how they reacted in the current story when Shanks and Whitebeard made contact. It wasn't this sense of urgency. Admirals weren't dispatched to stop this meeting. Does this say anything about the individuals involved, or more about the Marines, or even the era? Or is this about Shanks and his possible connections? Either way, we cut to the Roger Pirates to see a strapping young Crocus confirming Roger was indeed in peak condition, and we cannot forget Rayleigh, Scopper, and a young Buggy. Okay, we see Shanks as well. The Shanks fans have kind of been on my ass ever since I said he could possibly be the weakest Yonko, so I see him. The conversation between Roger and Shiki was a bit hilarious, as Shiki didn't even offer Roger a joint partnership. He wanted him to be his right-hand man. Imagine having the balls to go to the future Pirate King and say, be my right-hand man. Shiki wanted to rule the world, but Roger of course had no interest. With what we know now, no doubt this had Rock's influence, all the way down to him saying stuff happened when they were younger. And now we know Garp and Roger disbanded the Rock's pirates. Roger was surrounded by the entire fleet of Shiki's ships and managed to win due to sudden foul weather. Call it the luck of the D, but to this day, we're still not sure what happened. It does remind us of Luffy in Logtown, but we normally chalk that up to Dragon being there. What was the excuse this time? This was the Battle of the Ed War, and the final time they would clash before Roger became the Pirate King 2 years later. A year after that, Roger was arrested, and of course everyone was shocked. but none more than Shiki, who would not dare believe that could happen. He experienced Roger firsthand, so he knew exactly how strong he was. Shiki, being so angry at this report, heads to Marineford where he starts piling up bodies due to the outlandish claims by the government. Shiki was indeed correct that they did not really capture Roger as he turned himself in, but his words made me think here again about the Rocks pirates. Shiki yet again said that with Roger's help, they could have ruled the world. Rocks must have instilled this dialogue into his subordinates, as Big Mom and Kaido essentially thinks the same thing now. If you're pushing a Yonko agenda, this isn't a bad point to bring up, as Shiki confronted Garp and Sengoku by himself as to scoff at their strength. I mean, this didn't mean much though, because he was defeated by the duo, but not before half of Marineford was decimated. Keep in mind though that Shiki's Devil Fruit could be a top 5 most destructive Devil Fruit, so this collateral damage was inevitable, but after the loss, Shiki is tossed into Impel Down. The death of Roger was huge though. It prompted the beginning of the Great Age of Piracy, and we see the individuals heavily influenced by his death. Moria, Crocodile, Mihawk, Buggy, Doflamingo, Shanks, and even Dragon. The panel of Rouge though legitimately makes me so sad. One of my favorite moments of this chapter though is seeing people we've met along the way, good and bad, and just through experiencing them brings a level of happiness by just seeing them on screen. These were the characters that end up making One Piece an incredible journey. Shiki's words are constantly overlooked, right? Because some people view Shiki as a joke, but he says something that I believe a lot of older pirates and low-key individuals in the community actually think to be true. The new pirates just aren't as good or great as pirates of the past. Shiki believes the new era has been influenced by treasure. Does a lust for treasure make one a true pirate? Is adventure and the chase for dominance the true meanings of a pirate? Ben Beckman's words to Ace makes a lot more sense, as this would be somewhat his era. Something cool though is that over 20 years ago, it's revealed that Magellan was indeed the vice warden at that time during Shiki's breakout. Does anyone come to mind who could have been a chief warden at that time? We then see Garp talking about Shiki never choosing peace, and of course a young Ace and a young Kuina, and we can't forget about the best dad in the world, Yasop, ready to leave his son all by itself, and of course Shanks meeting him, the construction of the Mary, Bellamere as a Marine, Kureha and Hilaluk, a young Zeph, Dalton voicing his concerns about Wapol, you know how that turns out, and a very young Nico Robin already trying to escape the world government. What more could you ask for? Well, it gave us even more. Other than a young Frankie, Gaimon, Laboon, Brook and Crocus, Hachan, Shaki and the Dark King, we got the legend himself, Whitebeard. Not saying really he's a legend, but we got Whitebeard. Shiki confronting Whitebeard also feels a bit different now because we know they were on the same crew. He calls it Whitebeard's era now that Roger is gone, but knowing what we know now about Odin, etc., Whitebeard essentially aided Roger's accomplishment. He handed him the Pirate King. Of course, Odin wanted to leave and a bunch of different things, but that was Whitebeard's crewmate that Roger used to become the Pirate King. Of course, Whitebeard just told him to get off his ship, but Shiki left and he threatens to come back to show the soft age of pirates how to do things, and supposedly it was supposed to be 20 years later. We haven't seen Shiki yet, but honestly, as a One Piece fan, even if Shiki never returns, although he made a cameo in Wano, One Piece Chapter 0 is still one of the most greatest experiences as a One Piece fan, and it deepens our already insane love for the series and these characters. If you have not read One Piece Chapter 0 or even watched the special, please go do so right now. Well, after you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and follow me on Twitter at BrogDAce and follow me on Instagram, brogdy.ace. But before that, I have to thank all my patrons for all you do and for your support. It means so much. Guys, Chapter 0, one of the greatest experiences. Please go read it. Follow my Twitch. I do a bunch of cool stuff on there as well. Thanks again. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.